Good evening. 6 years on and the infected blood inquiry due to a close in central London today. Thousands of people were infected with HIV or hepatitis through blood transfusions over a 21-year period. Some Londoners, including Sultana Rahman, were infected, but her condition remained undiscovered for decades before she passed away. Her son, Nahidur, told our reporter Sam Holder that he simply wants justice.
Throughout their childhood, Nahidur and his brother saw their mum get progressively more sick. For 24 years, they had no idea why, until she was diagnosed with hepatitis C.
By that time, it was far too late. She ended up getting on numerous treatments to try and get rid of the hepatitis, and every single thing failed. I was at the graveyard this morning. I tried to make it a habit, trying to see, just to pay her a visit on every Friday, and you know, it's awful. You know, she's not gonna. My mum was only 55 when she passed. Right, she had such a long life left to live, and unfortunately, that was stolen from her.
Nahidur's mum Sultana was given a blood transfusion at Newham Hospital after giving birth in 1987. She was likely one of the thousands infected during the contaminated blood scandal. NHS patients across the country were given blood products imported from the US, sourced from prisoners and drug addicts. Batches contained HIV and hepatitis C. It took decades of campaigning, but now final submissions have been made at the official inquiry into what happened. The scandal came to public attention in 2016, when victims and their families pressured the government to investigate and reveal the truth. By the following year, Prime Minister Theresa May announced a statutory public inquiry would be held. In October last year, the first compensation payments were made to about 4,000 surviving victims and widows, but not to parents and children. Sir Brian Langstaff, who's chairing the inquiry, said his findings will be announced in the autumn. There will be an interim report by Easter detailing further compensation.
It was a dreadful scandal, but what was more than that dreadful scandal was that the successive government departments or administrations refused to admit that they got it wrong.
These vials contain tributes from the families of those who died, an estimated 2,400 patients. For Nahidur, he feels he now has the obligation to stand up in his mum's name.
Her justice would be, you know, just being able to live a normal life. And unfortunately, she couldn't do that. And for us as a family now, it's more about sort of making sure we get justice and make sure this doesn't happen again for anybody else.
Sam Holder, ITV News.
The adoptive mother of a little boy who was tortured as baby by his mum and her partner has said she's shocked to hear one of his abusers is to be released from jail. Paula Hudgell was unaware that a hearing was even taking place today. 8-year-old Tony was left with life-changing injuries, including the loss of both his legs. Jodie Simpson and her partner were both jailed for 10 years in 2018. The Metropolitan Police are reappealing for anybody with information to come forward in relation to the murder of an American artist in Tower Hamlets 2 decades ago. No one has been convicted of the 27-year-old's murder in Victoria Park. Detectives say Margaret's family deserve to see her killer face justice. And strikes have affected train and bus services across the capital for a second day this week. Action by the RMT and ASLEF unions mean 15 train operators are running reduced or no services at all, and nearly 2,000 Abellio bus drivers in South and West London also went on strike.
Well, because after 4 years we haven't had a pay rise. It's very simple. It's the same dispute that we've had all along. Probably more entrenched than it was originally. But, you know, the people behind me want a pay rise. They want recognition, as other workers do in the UK, that there is a cost of living crisis.
Next tonight, a man who admitted trying to kill the Queen at Windsor Castle 2 Christmases ago, Jaswant Singh Chahal, was caught in the royal grounds with a loaded crossbow. Today, he pleaded guilty to the 3 charges brought against him. Sangeeta Kandola reports now from the Old Bailey.
Well, it was Christmas Day 2021 when just once seen Chahil scaled the grounds at Windsor Castle using a nylon rope ladder. He was wearing a hood and a mask and crucially carrying a crossbow. That crossbow was loaded with a bolt, the safety was off and it was ready to fire. His intended target was the late Queen, who was in residence at the time. Now, he'd been on the ground for around 2 hours before police spotted him. They said he looked like something out of a vigilante movie. And when they confronted him, he repeatedly said, "I am here to kill the Queen," before he was, of course, handcuffed and detained. Now, today, the 21-year-old pleaded guilty to serious charges, including one under the Treason Act. He claims he wanted revenge for the treatment of Indians following the massacre in Amritsar in India in 1919. Now, Chahil appeared here at the Old Bailey via video link from Broadmoor Hospital. He's due to be sentenced next month.
Sangeeta Kandola there. Turning to tonight's West London derby at Stamford Bridge, and it was a goalless between Chelsea and Fulham. British record signing Enzo Fernandez made his debut for the Blues, but it was the German midfielder Kai Havertz who came closest to breaking the deadlock just before half-time when he hit the post. And finally, a physical challenge for some, but maybe a walk in the park for others, as a new Ninja Warrior course opens in Guildford. Inspired by the popular ITV game show hosted by Chris Kamara, competitors have to complete a series of obstacles in the quickest time possible. We sent Anila Dami to tackle the course.
So I'm coming through. One of the Ninja Warrior UK challenges here in Guildford, which has opened up where you can climb, balance, swing and jump through different obstacle courses to make it to the end of challenges with your friends.
The challenges here in Surrey are inspired by the ITV show, where contestants compete across 6 obstacles.
That's the professional parkourist.
Closely watched by host Rochelle Humes, Ben Shepherd and Chris Kamara.
We basically have a great laugh. We laugh with the competitors and we admire the strong ones and the athletic ones,
Do you know what? I love working with one of my best friends. I love working with Rochelle. There's nothing more exciting than watching the competitors take on the course, getting up the wall, that adrenaline rush. You can't afford to wait. Natalia has to go. To work on a show that people really love. I mean, you can see everybody being here today is just testament to that, how much we enjoy it, how lucky we are.
The atmosphere here is buzzing. Groups are throwing themselves in.
Land me forwards. That's it.
And Jacob from Ealing loves the challenges so much he's been on the show 3 times.
You've taken part in the TV show so many times now. What keeps you going back for more?
The possibilities of how you do the obstacle are endless. It's your creativity. I never found traditional sport at school very fun. Football, rugby, cricket, it was too competitive. So this kind of venue where you could just move for the fun of it, it's very inviting, I think, for the public to get moving, to build their upper body strength and just have a play, jump and climb around.
This is one of 17 venues in the UK for all ages and abilities, with a Mini Ninja's soft play area. Even Shyla from Slough, who had no experience of obstacles, appeared on the show.
It doesn't matter how young or how old you are, it's for everyone. The best thing about Ninja Warrior itself is you learning to just go for stuff and facing your fears and tackling stuff you probably wouldn't tackle in your daily life, and just having fun with it.
Well, with the pros spurring me on, I had to unleash my inner ninja. And it may have taken me a couple of attempts, but I did make it to the top. Anila Dami, ITV News.
On to the weather now. Here's Philippa Drew.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV London Weekend Weather.
Good evening. Well, as we head into the weekend, it's looking very quiet weather-wise. A good deal of dry and bright weather, but despite a mild start, it will turn a bit colder as we head into Sunday and beyond, and we could well see the return of some overnight frost and fog. Out there tonight, though, it remains very quiet, so quite a bit of cloud on the scene, but mostly dry, and the cloud cover ensuring that the temperatures will hold up fairly well for the time of year, probably not much lower than 6 or 7 Celsius, so a frost-free night and a frost-free start to our weekend. Saturday morning then, quite a bit of cloud around initially, but I think as we head through the day, that cloud will gradually thin and break. We'll see more in the way of bright or sunny spells coming through, and actually in the best of the sunshine out of the breeze, a very pleasant feeling day with highs for many of us in double figures, generally between 10 and 12 degrees Celsius. But something of a change overnight into Sunday. We'll see this weak front drifting its way southwards. It'll bring a bit more cloud, a little bit of rain here and there, but the main change behind it will be a drop in temperatures. So for Sunday itself, once that front clears, lots of sunshine coming through, but daytime temperatures coming back down into single figures and getting below freezing overnight.
Valent sponsors ITV London Weekend Weather.
And that is how London is looking this Friday night. Thank you very much for watching. Whatever you're doing, have a lovely weekend. Good night.